Good to know you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. You
All
too.
right. Hello, everyone, and we are live. Welcome to the Pastrami Nation podcast. I'm your host, Kevin, and we have a really, really fun show today. I'm really excited. We have an author, Jeffrey Evans, he's here, going to be talking about his new book, Modern Gothic. We'll jump into that in a few minutes here. But of course, joining me today, as usual, Mr. Co-founder of Pastrami Nation himself, Mr. Jason Smith. How you doing, man?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
And of course, Godfather of Toys, Christian. How you doing, buddy?
Cannot complain. How are you guys doing?
Good. Good to have you.
Doing fantastic. And of course, the guest of honor,
Yes.
Mr. Jeffrey Evans. He's an author. And he's here to talk about his new book, Modern Gothic.
Yes.
So it sounds perfect for spooky season, right? It sounds like an awesome book. Tell us, what is Modern Gothic about? What is the story?
It's it's actually 5 stories, and they're intertwined, but it starts off basically in like biblical times, and what it has to do with it's basically the origins of evil. How in my story the Nephilim basically come aboard the ark as animals as
That
people.
is so cool.
And then later, that's how they get incorporated after the flood into the New World. And it takes up the first story, and it jumps from there to the Library of Alexandria, where a lot, according to history, Caesar burned the ships in the harbor, which caused the library to burn down. But actually, what it was deliberately burned down to sabotage knowledge. And it starts out with people smuggling scrolls out of like forbidden knowledge, like the Book of Enoch, which wasn't included into the Bible. So then it skips ahead, another 1,000 years or so in medieval times.
Mm-hmm.
So this group of scientists are being ostracized by the church because of their knowledge of science goes against, church teachings, as the famous saying from Galileo, "Se mueve," it moves.
Right.
He wasn't allowed to say that, because, the earth can't move around the sun. The sun has to move around the earth. So they're imprisoned because they are, men of, they're scholarly men. So they escape and they go to this island where they can be left alone and practice their teachings and things like that. So later in the story, one of the king's daughters, she's not his legitimate daughter, but as you know, what was it called? I can't say the word in French, something less droit, rights of the king to consummate a marriage. She's of the royal bloodline, but she's not a legitimate royal daughter. So he dispatches a group led by a Templar knight. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
No worries.
She wants to be part of the show.
Right.
That's awesome.
She's a fan of Gothic literature. So he dispatches this group to go and bring back his daughter, but she is actually in cahoots with the scientists, and it was basically a ruse to bring them there. They infect them with the Black Plague. That's their revenge against the church. They take that back to Europe.
Very cool.
And that's just the first story.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it continues from there. The next story, and it goes in chronological. Next story takes place in the Old West. Next story takes place in World War II.
Oh, nice.
And then the last 2 take place in modern times. And then the first story and the last story connect.
Oh, that's very awesome. Cool. So it's a collection of essentially 5 short stories that all kind of come together, correct?
Exactly. It's an anthology. Just like you remember when we were kids, how you had Night Gallery and you had like that. And you remember that one with Karen Black? It was like, I think, Anthology of Terror.
Yeah.
It
wasn't. Yep.
Well, anything with Karen Black, you watch it with Karen Black, but
right.
Who cares about the story? Oh, there was a story. So anyway, Twilight Zone, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Is the way it's set up. And I try to put a twist ending to all of them, something that you didn't see coming, like kind of an R.L. Stein type of
Very cool. So you just, mentioned, things like the Twilight Zone, R.L. Stein, things like that. Are those the kind of things that inspired you to write this book? I mean, what was kind of the main, idea? Where did this spark come from to write this book? It's just a very fascinating story.
I think it was a lot of different things that kind of culminated. I'm almost 60, and it's kind of a culmination of things I've done throughout my life. I'm from rural Ohio. So back in the day, back in the 70s when I grew up, we'd sit around, a fire and just make stuff up. And also when I was a kid, we didn't have cable or anything like that. So I remember my mom she was into soap operas. She liked Days of Our Lives. So she'd
Mine. Yeah.
She'd say, I have to go to the doctor tomorrow. Can you watch the show and tell me what happened? And I really didn't want to, so I'd just make up something.
Right.
Tell it to her.
It makes you a good storyteller, though, right? Like it.
Oh yeah. The only deal with that is you couldn't kill anybody off.
Right.
What's my quarterback? I just did. So, and then there's just a lot of things, like you said, when we finally did get cable, a lot of stuff. I like anything that makes me think or kind of catches me off guard. And Twilight Zone did that. Any other show, you kind of just you watch it, maybe the A-Team or something's got a lot of action. But I really like anything that I have to keep up with.
Right. Exactly. No. Yeah. Completely understand that. So you wrote this book about. I'm just curious. Like, how long does it take you to kind of get all this together and to finally complete the book from when you started it to now? It's out now, correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You can find it on, let's see, Amazon, iTunes. Yeah, you can find it on Google Play, and you can order it. What's that called? Print on demand through Barnes and Noble. Plus, I'll be at a book signing the 30th from 1 to 5 down at the Victorville Barnes and Noble.
Oh,
So,
sweet.
I'm going to wear this shirt, so you'll know who I am. And I'll be the guy signing books. So
you're 2 minutes away from me.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
It doesn't take long once you get your story down. But, like they say, the devil's in the details. You'll write something that sounds really cool, but it's like, okay, then well, if he did this, how did he get from here to there? It's like that.
Right.
It's the continuity of the thing. You can't make things, well, he just did. You got to explain to where the audience are like, that doesn't jive. That doesn't make sense. So the devil is in the details. But it doesn't take long. It doesn't really take time.
Very cool. So I do have a question, just being, a writer myself. We were talking about this a little bit before we started.
Right.
A lot of people struggling, they have a bunch of stories written down and they're aching to get them out into the world eventually. What's the one kind of piece of advice, or what would you recommend? You did it, right? You sat down, you did it, you pushed through. What's that one piece of advice that you would give somebody who is struggling with getting their book finished, to just get to the finish line? Like, I know there's a number of different factors that can play into someone not completing a book, or not completing their story, not telling their story. But what did you learn kind of throughout your process that you can maybe tell someone else who is struggling with completing their work? What would you tell them? What would you tell somebody?
I'd say don't get discouraged and don't give up. And if you have to self-publish, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have to, I went through Page Publishing, okay, but they did all the editing and they did all that, and they even helped me with some of the marketing. They sent out the press releases. I still try to do a lot of the legwork myself. I remember the first email I got from them it said, "You're your own best cheerleader." I can do that. I can promote me, and I do. I try to, but I just don't give up. And then also try to do your homework. Like, for example, there's a lot of scams. People will call you up. They'll send you emails, and they have these deals. They'll promote you for the low cost of $3,000, $6,000, whatever. It's like,
oh yeah.
And I go down the list, and I was like, "There's nothing on here I can't do myself."
Right.
So why am I going to pay you, $6,000 to have you put me on Facebook? I'm on Facebook. So don't give up and do the homework first and look for your best avenues, and then follow through. Tell people about it. I got this T-shirt made. Like I say, I'm going to do the book signing. Don't be shy about it. Blow your horn. You want people to. I go in Walmart and I take this with me, and I try to get them to say, "Aren't you going to pay for that?" And I got this book. I got this book, and this girl's like, I saw you come in with that, so kind of took the wind out of my sail.
Oh man.
Oh,
Next time, I'll hide it.
But yeah, I guess that's an awesome piece of advice. Don't be shy about it. Really talk about your work and just push it out there. Don't be afraid to bring it out there. Let's get to some of the comments real quick. Brenda Fight says, sounds like a really cool book, Jeff. Susan Cottrell, really great read. She read it. Pablo says, what's up, guys? Stevie Hillshire says, hello. Arturo Garcia Jr. says, what's up, guys? And then Arturo also says, Jason, I am going to pretend I don't see that New York Giants hat. But
which hat? What hat? What hat?
What hat? You gotta turn around this.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. Really appreciate it, and congratulations! Like, that's a huge accomplishment, man. It's out there in the world. And you said people can pick it up. You said Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com,
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, iTunes, and Google Play. And I want to say Kindle, but I'm not as computer savvy as
right.
That's what worried me the most. Well, you can tell I'm a really shy guy. I had a lot of trouble coming out of my shell for this.
Oh,
you can tell that. So the thing that worried me most was not like talking, but just like getting the thing to, like going through and not computer messing up and, and so,
right.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm the most computer illiterate person there is. My son, he's 23. He does everything like this.
Oh yeah.
Up and, I'm like, hey, how do you do this? It's usually something that's real easy, but it's not easy for me.
Well, now you're the second most computer illiterate because I'm here.
Oh, okay. I feel better now.
Yeah.
Oh man, all this technology is moving so fast.
Yes.
Yeah, but if it wasn't for technology, I would probably never have been able to write a book because the spell checker is what saved me.
Oh
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jeffrey, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on, and feel free to come back anytime.
Oh,
you ever have another book coming out, or if you just want to, come over and chat. We chat about cool, nerdy stuff. Feel free, man.
Oh, okay.
Like, we'd love to have you on anytime. So
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeffrey. Well, thank you so much. And it's great talking to you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
thank you.
Awesome.
Look
Thanks,
forward
Jeff.
to reading that.
Yes, I appreciate
Absolutely.
And I have no idea what to do now.
It's okay. I think if you go down to the bottom, you should be able just to go to the Leave Studio, I believe.
Yeah, I would eventually found that.
I still haven't.
I used to teach classes online.
Oh yeah.
So the whole time, we did it was during COVID, so we did Zoom meetings. So
I can imagine.
I'm looking over here from my vice principal. We need to talk after. You guys take care, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Later.
Thanks, Jeffrey. All right,
Cool
guys, that was really fun. Go check out his book. It sounds really cool. I'm excited to check it out.
Available on Kindle if you guys want to download it.
God, I love it when people like that come on, man. They always inspire me to get my stuff together.
Yeah,
and get going, man.
Good questions too. I love hearing people's stories of
same.
Awesome.
It's fascinating. But yeah, so guys, we have a new thing to talk about. Recently premiered on Disney Plus. What was it, last week?
New thing, huh? There's a little Easter egg. Huh?
Oh yeah, there you go. A new man thing, some would say.
You mean Ted?
Werewolf by Night, the television special. It's not a one shot; it's a television special. I got into a debate with Eli about it. He's like, it's not a one shot. One shots are super short. I'm like, dude, it's a one shot, but it's not a one shot. It's a TV special. Halloween special, which I personally thought was fantastic. You guys enjoyed it as well, right?
Oh man.
It was a lot of fun, and that was 45 minutes.
About
45-minute runtime was just perfect. It honestly could have been longer, to be honest. I would have been totally okay with it if it was. But I thought it was perfect length. I thought it it reminded me like we had all the lights out and like so this thing like back in the day to be able to go to sleep, I'd get really comfortable. I'd watch these old black and white horror movies, right? So I'd watch like, Plan 9 from Outer Space or
Oh,
whatever.
God.
All these really old, sci-fi, bunch of Ed Wood stuff, bunch of stuff like that. And it kind of reminded me of those, right? It was very comforting. It was like a warm blanket. Like you put it on, it just felt super something about it that just hit me the right way. But I thought it was fantastic. I thought the monster design was incredible, especially on Man Thing. I thought that was fantastic. And the thing that impressed me the most was Michael Giacchino's direction. Like, it just was like this dude. Like, I mean, I was looking at his IMDb, and obviously we know him as a composer. He's done a bunch of movies. He's worked with some of the biggest filmmakers around: J.J. Abrams, Brad Bird, Taika Waititi, Matt Reeves. So he picked up some stuff along the way, but this was like his first real directing gig. Like he had done like a commercial or something before, or something like that. Man, like his confidence as a director, like if I had not known like that this was someone's first thing, I'd be like, I wouldn't have believed it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I thought it was really well done. What's the main character's name? The actor.
What's his name? Gael Garcia Bernal.
I just had it too. Gael Garcia. Is that correct?
Yeah, something. Yeah. Fantastic.
He's always kind of been one of those actors who I've always appreciated. Like Y Tu Mama Tambien was one of my favorites.
Yes.
Motorcycle Diaries. I thought he did a fantastic job. Just a phenomenal actor. And what did you give me your thoughts, guys? What do you guys think?
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, well, I loved how they did it in black and white. Like it was just like that set that whole monster movie vibe. And just I like when they first got to there and you see like the Yeti head on the wall and the Bigfoot. I thought that was really cool, like the Monster Hunter thing. I would have loved to have seen like a flashback, because you knew they were going to show something like that when they were showing the little what's the little drawing kind of things at the beginning. Remember where it shows like a Yeti? It was like a hieroglyphic or something. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Then we actually see the Yeti head on the wall. I'm like, and then a Bigfoot and some other monsters. I'm like, this is cool. I'm liking where this is going. And then when they all start looking, I was thinking like, at first it's going to be a werewolf. When I saw that arm grab him, and once I saw that face, I was like, yes, like that made it right there. When it was Man Thing, it's like, oh my god, Man Thing to me stole that movie. I mean, everybody did their part in there. I liked it, good movie, but Man Thing just wow.
And I saw like, did you guys see the cast photo with the physical Man Thing there?
Yeah,
like, so people were talking about how he's CGI.
No,
and
you could tell.
Marvel was like, no, this is not CGI.
You could tell the difference between CGI and like a guy in a special effects suit.
Yeah. And I think I saw it on Facebook or Twitter or something. I can't remember where exactly. Trying to bring it up, but I can't find it on here. But Christian, what are your thoughts?
I loved it. It was so much fun. I am a fan of Gael Garcia Bernal as well. It's funny because I'm also watching oh my god, I can't Andor right now, and every time I think of either of them, like to me, Gael and Diego Luna kind of go hand in hand in my head because of Y Tu Mama Tambien. It was fantastic. Yeah, his direction, like just like you said, really confident, really competent. I especially like, the fight scene was like the pacing of it, the choreography, like the shots, was really, really well done. I don't know. I knew I was gonna like it going in. The Man Thing was spoiled for me on social media, unfortunately.
Same.
So I knew that coming in, but it was. I love the way they handled Ted. That was like really cool.
That was so great, Ted.
Also, the guy in the animatronic dude.
Yeah.
So good. So
good. The like vampire guy in the coffin.
Yeah.
Yes, and the arms went.
So good. Fantastic. Just
I also want to shout out Laura Donnelly. She played Elsa Bloodstone. I thought she was fantastic too. Her and Gael Garcia Bernal. What? Did we butcher his name completely?
It's Gael, I think.
Yeah,
yeah.
Gael. Sorry, I apologize. And him and Laura shared their chemistry was great. I thought they were fantastic together. I thought she was fantastic, and also the her name is Harriet Sansom Harris, the lead, the wife
mother.
of
Yeah,
the person who died.
The villain.
I thought she was scary. She's
Yeah.
But the practical effects were amazing too. I thought that, especially when he turned into the werewolf, it had that, really kind of had
Ron
that
Chaney kind of
yeah.
I do appreciate too. I know Disneyland they have a werewolf running around Avengers Campus.
Oh, that's freaking cool.
From Werewolf by Night, which is really cool. There's some pictures online. I think you can find them on Facebook. But that's really cool. I hope that means that we get more of these, like these one shots or these,
absolutely
special features, because it's just like if we can connect this to like Ghost Rider, Blade eventually, who lost their director. Right? So that's something to talk about.
Yeah. So that I want to talk about that real quick because I don't know what. So they lost their director. They're trying to, what's his name? The gentleman who's cast as Blade.
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali. He's not happy with the progress of everything. I don't know, man. I don't know.
You can't blame them. They think they were like 6 weeks out from shooting.
Yeah.
And like they announced this how many years ago already, and they haven't really. And now on top of it, they just halted everything. So I don't blame them for being upset. I'd be too.
It's
the
insane.
Director went to go try out for the Raiders head coaching job.
I say, I think you should just get someone like Ryan Coogler in there to direct. He's never done horror before, but I feel like this might be a good fit for him.
Right.
He's kind of in the MCU wheelhouse as it is, and he's great at what he does. And I would like to see him tackle it. But then again, I would want someone with a horror kind of background to take this property, like I did hear rumblings at first when the director did drop out that they were talking to someone like Sam Raimi, who I love. And I think he would do a good job, but I've liked Sam Raimi. I like his Spider-Man movies, but I want to see him do something original and something. I don't want to see him as a director for hire anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he can do other stuff more within his wheelhouse, even though I think he would do a good job with Blade. Right. Sean Tracy says, how's it going? Oh, it's going great, man. Thank you for joining us today. But overall, Werewolf by Night was a really, really fun show.
Yeah,
really,
definitely
really
recommend if you guys haven't checked it out yet. It's a quick watch. It's a lot of fun. So
highly recommend it.
I want to watch it again just to see any other little Easter eggs I can spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be some stuff hidden in that mansion.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's so much stuff in it that so many Easter eggs that they threw in there. I'm sure that we just completely glossed over.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but like Moon Knight's original first appearance was in Werewolf by Night in the comics, right?
Exactly.
So, I don't know, like that would. I mean, that'd be really interesting for them to like tie all of that together. But I don't know what their plan is with Moon Knight. We'll see. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I'd love it.
Yeah. I'd want to see just more of that world. So that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know if you guys. Okay, so a couple of things. Black Adam. I don't know if you guys saw. Like, I think it was yesterday or something, but I guess The Rock all but confirmed Henry Cavill. I don't know if you guys
heard about it. Yeah, he was on the Jake's Takes interview show, and I only know Jake's Takes because he hosts another podcast called Real Blend, which I really love. I highly recommend you guys checking that out. That's just a plug for a podcast I have nothing to do with. It's a great podcast. But anyways, it was Jake Hamilton. He was doing an interview with The Rock, and he basically was talking about the Henry Cavill stuff. You guys probably talk about it better than me because I'm going to go watch it, but I have no interest in watching that movie, to be honest. I'm
indifferent. I know Jason and Nolan.
Yeah, I know Jason and Nolan want to go check it out.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Jay? Are you would you like to see Henry Cavill in
I
a Black
love-
Adam movie.
Yeah, and I think it has to happen because, I mean, in reality, who's going to really go toe to toe with him in there other than Superman? You know,
Mhm.
Henry Cavill and The Rock going at it would just like wow, that'd be like a heavy Hollywood heavyweight battle on screen.
Right? No, absolutely. I mean, I think fans will love it. I think it's kind of something that people have been, and to be honest, if Cavill is in it, like makes me more excited to go see it.
Yeah.
You know, but
That's what next week.
is it? Oh,
Yeah.
shoot,
So I
might
think
be.
it already released overseas too.
Because my
Which
brother
is-
scored some tickets for us. He's like, "Yeah, we're going to the other Cinemark." I'm like, "Cool."
Yeah.
Um,
And then I think 2 weeks after that is Black Panther too. So
Yes.
Yeah.
it's just now all the movies are coming back. So
Releasing this week is the end, quote unquote, of the Halloween franchise.
ooh.
Halloween.
That's right. Halloween
Um,
ends.
Going to watch it Friday. It'll also be on Peacock. So, but we figure we're going to go. The last two have been on. No, the last one was on Peacock and theaters same day, which is what they're doing with this one too. So it's going to be in theaters and on Peacock same day. But I figured why not? It's the end. So, you know,
Or so
it'll
they
be cool to
say.
see.
Hey,
Yeah.
as long as that last one was the end of all those evil dies tonight
Oh,
chants,
gosh. Oh,
I'll be okay. You know,
yeah.
Like, that was silly.
Completely. I also wanted to bring up really quickly, tickets for Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, have gone on sale for theatrical. So it will be showing for 1 week only, November 23rd through I believe it's the 28th or 29th. I can't remember. But it's going to be premiering in theaters 1 month ahead of its Netflix premiere. We already got our tickets for that Tuesday because I don't want them to
Nice.
sell out because they were, it's a super limited run, and it feels like a movie you need to see in theaters. I remember seeing the first one in theaters, and it was so much fun. So otherwise, you guys can wait a month to go check it out on Netflix.
Right.
But yeah, like you were saying, Cavill hitting up Black Adam, and then yeah, these movies are stacked coming up, right? Like we have so many movies out right now. Smile is dominating the box office. Terrifier 2 is dominating the box office. It's all about horror. Horror is saving the box office. I'm telling you guys, horror is where it's at. Horror is making all the money right now.
As it should in October, you know?
Well, it's not just October. In general, like horror has been like holding its own. It's been like it's saved theaters. Like horror has, with the exception of Top Gun Maverick, like
right.
It's all about horror right now.
Well, speaking of horror, what would you guys like to see? Like your ultimate like horror movie? Like if anything, you know, like what would you love to see?
As far as like what would we like to see in theaters or just in general?
Yeah, like if there could be a horror movie made and then like what would you like to see a movie about, like as far as horror goes?
That's a good question.
We get movies sometimes and then it's like I'm like, oh yeah, and then it's kind of like it kind of got silly at the end or something, you know, like I'm a sucker for werewolf movies and sometimes we get them and they just kind of
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I'm a sucker for these have been made before, but I'm a sucker for a good like ghost movie, right? Like a good
supernatural, right?
A good supernatural. I like the idea too. Like people talk about all these weird paranormal things happening on top of each other. So you have like, someone will see a ghost and then suddenly someone else will see UFOs in the sky or like all these weird things kind of coming together. I know what's his name? Ryan Murphy tried to do that with American Horror Story season 2. I think it was Asylum. Really well done. Had aliens, ghosts, all this really cool stuff. But I think I like to see more like a gothic kind of horror type story based in like, the Victorian era, but have like UFOs and a bunch of weird stuff happening, right? Like cowboys versus aliens, but like have it be based in the Victorian era. Haunted house, just weird stuff going on. I think that'd be pretty cool. I'd even watch a TV show about that, like paranormal investigators back in those days trying to figure out these UFOs and all these. It'd be very steampunky. Guys, I think we just came up with our first series. All right. I'm keeping my mouth shut now. But no, what about you guys? What would you guys like to see?
I'm not much of a horror guy, but I will say the stuff that really, really gets me is the like true story stuff. So speaking of which, and not to derail anything, but Dahmer, did you guys watch
I
I
on
haven't
Netflix?
yet. I need
Oh
to.
I have
my
not.
god.
I have not
Um,
yet.
we watched the whole thing very slowly. It's not a bingeable show. If
No.
if you binge Dahmer, I hate to break it to you, but you're probably a psychopath. That it was like we needed like a cleanser after every
Right.
episode. But yeah, I don't know. It was just like fact checking everything, and just it was just more disturbing knowing that this, to one extent or another, actually happened to somebody. So
Yeah.
I do love like true crime stuff. Like that stuff is really intriguing. There's a lot of like, especially with Dahmer stuff, there's a lot of like psychology behind everything. So I don't know. I find that kind of stuff really interesting. So there's been movies about all of the serial killers by this point now. But yeah, I don't know. True story stuff, maybe something I've never heard of. That could be fun. Like a
Just
story
real
brought
quick,
to light.
so Denton is joining us. Hello, Denton. Everything MCU sucks really bad. The new Hellraiser was awesome. If Disney makes a horror, it's not actually horror. I disagree with that immensely.
Yeah,
I think
same.
I think horror is it's person to person, right? So it's all objective. What's horror? I think horror is, some people look at those Universal Monsters movies as horror, and those were like the original classic horror. And some people consider that horror, and I consider that horror as well. And that's what this felt like, right? So it's not going to be slashers, not going to be a lot of blood, but blood, gore, jump scares don't necessarily make, you don't need all of that in a horror movie. Horror could be psychological. It could be a number of different things. So I don't know. That's my opinion on that part. What do you guys think? What do you guys' take on that? I'm just curious.
Well, I don't know. For me, I would like as far as a horror movie, because I feel like there's been enough werewolves and stuff. I'd like to see a movie about either Bigfoot or the Abominable Snowman, but done in a really scary, kind of gory, non-sci-fi channel way. Because
Yeah.
I feel like every Bigfoot movie that comes out, I'll sit there and watch it, but it's like it was what Danny Bonaducci and one of the Brady Bunch guy
Right.
duking it out on top of Mount Rushmore, and Bigfoot every time he ran like clunk clunk sounds like he's running on metal. I'm like, geez, like I feel like every Bigfoot movie that comes out like is straight to sci-fi. I'd like to see something more, maybe Abominable Snowman, because that's not really been like touched a whole lot, and just make it creepy as shit and scary. If somebody does it right, like I want something where I'm going to be like scared to go walk into the woods or something,
Absolutely.
Maybe base it off of those Russian students that, if you guys know the story, real story. And,
The past incident.
where they found half of them beaten to death, their skulls cave in, like all the signs of a primate attack, but probably bigger, and some froze to death up in trees, like they were running from something,
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see something like, something that sort of genre.
Yeah, I think the woods are inherently terrifying already.
Yes.
So yeah, that's
Orange groves
like
are creepy as shit.
Yeah. Like man, as soon as I lose a little bit of light, I'm out of here. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'll be
Absolutely. No, for
I seen
sure.
Arturo posted Ghost, Haunted Dolls, and more La Llorona.
La Llorona.
That was a pretty creepy movie.
La Llorona?
Yeah. The one with Tuco from Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, they did make that movie. So here's the thing. That legend scared the living bejesus out of me when I was a kid. Like I would be threatened with it. I'd be like, La Llorona is gonna come get you, all this stuff. I got the
same stories told to me.
Yeah. Like it's a horrifying legend. I wish someone would just do a truly horrifying version of the story, right? Like I think that would kill. I think people will love it. We can use more American cryptid horror flicks. I agree. I think we could, like, all kinds of cool stuff. Horror Valentines for the anti-Valentine's Day people. Well, there is Valentine's Day. There's also the remake, which is decent, which is pretty good. So yeah, let us know what you guys would like to see horror, wise out there, and what's your favorite kind of horror. Let us know. But yeah, like I said, just real quick, like I said, ghosts and stuff really gets me. But like things like The Conjuring, like the first Conjuring was like the perfect horror movie for me because it's based on a true story, and it's scary ghosts and demons and all kinds of weird stuff. Like,
Have you guys
Yeah.
ever seen a real ghost?
Yeah.
Or is that for another podcast entirely?
I feel like that could be a whole thing of its
Yeah.
I
own.
think we need to save that one for that. Yeah,
I have seen stuff that I cannot explain.
me too.
I will leave that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need to do another podcast. I think we had some episodes of the Pastrami Paranormal that we had done a while back with me, Nolan, and Rebecca, and we were talking about that on all those experiences. So those should be on. I think they're on YouTube or they're on. I'm not sure if we posted them on iTunes and stuff like that.
You want to make
Yeah.
that our next podcast?
What's
It'll be
that?
right want to make that our next one? It should be right like after
could.
Halloween.
We absolutely could. I think that would be a lot of fun. I love talking that stuff. So let's talk
Because
about
we got
that all day
Lego
long.
next week, right? And then the
Yeah.
week after will be
On the 25th, we can do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, right before Halloween. Perfect.
Yeah.
we can tell our ghost stories.
Right. So guys, so just out of curiosity, have you guys been watching anything to kind of get you in the Halloween spirit lately? Have you guys been checking anything out? What it doesn't have to be new, it could be anything, classics you guys watch or anything you guys have been checking out at all to kind of get you into the Halloween spirit a little bit.
Well, I don't know about Halloween spirit, but I started binge watching La Brea.
Okay.
Started off okay, good, and then like about 3 or 4 episodes, I felt like I was in the tar pits. Like some of the stuff just kind of like I don't know who wrote this script. I love the big CG. Like it's cool to see a woolly rhino come onto the screen or like the big short-faced bear. I love that stuff. But a lot of the script involving the people and whatnot, I'm like, kind of like, how's this? That was him when he was little. Okay, well, the kid had blue eyes when he was little. How does he have brown eyes when he's an adult?
Right.
And just like I nitpicked the shit out of this, and it just seemed like we got way more talky episodes, and I just jumped into season 2 now. So
Nice.
in store.
So Arturo says Chucky TV series. That's a great pick. I've gotten I've been meaning to finish the first season. I really like what I saw. We got like halfway through it, then we had to move and all the stuff, and it just kind of haven't got back to it. I know season 2 just started up again. I'm excited just started up. I'm really excited to finish season 1 and then get into season 2 because I really, really liked what I saw of it so far. Hocus Pocus 1 and 2, Nightmare Before Christmas, Halloween, and Halloween H2O. Great choices. I want to talk about Hocus Pocus 2 in a minute. But Christian, what have you been checking out? You guys been watching anything?
I mean, I mentioned it earlier. Dahmer. Yeah, okay. That was really well done. I mean, like Dana and I are kind of interested in a lot of like true crime stuff anyway, and like I don't know. I think that was just really well done. I know the actor. He was like Ralph Boner. I can't remember. Evan Peters.
Evan Peters. Yeah.
And I know he has a history of playing like psychopaths on like American Horror Story. I mentioned it to my students, and they were like, Evan, like they're all in love with him. They're like, oh, I love him, and they're like, everybody was very much encouraging me to watch American Horror Story. I have not seen any of American Horror Story, so eventually, I think down the line we're gonna plan on watching season 1 at least of that. So, but yeah, Dahmer was really, really, really good. Really well done. Very surprising. And I think kind of really upsetting how true to life it was. You can kind of go through and fact check, and like they did. There was I think towards the end there's some more like discretions, but still really well done.
There's some Dahmer was a very I don't want to say fascinating because I feel like that's too big of a word, especially for a serial killer.
But really though,
really like he's a fascinating case study. And I think I've read a lot about him and seen so many documentaries that when it comes to the show, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of iffy about it if I want to sit down and like, not relive it, but like
I've seen kind of because you kind of were forced into it.
Like, and it's like so I know the story, right? Like I've researched it like crazy, not because I'm psychopath or anything, but because And since we're talking about true crime real quick, may I do another plug for a podcast that isn't mine, but I feel like you guys will love, and I think it's a really, really fun show. It is called, I don't know if you guys have seen it or heard of it or listened to it, but it's called The Last Podcast on the Left. One of my favorite podcasts ever. I'm actually wearing the shirt right now, Demon shirt.
Nice.
But they also have a really, really cool book out. It's Last Podcast on the Left, Tales of Stories of Murder, Mayhem, and from history's most notorious serial killers.
There's Dahmer right there.
Yeah, Dahmer's on there. Dahmer's in here. There's a chapter on
Richard
Dahmer,
Ramirez.
Bundy, Gacy,
Yeah.
just
Night Stalker.
all of these guys.
Yeah.
And they're really cool because so I try to recommend this podcast to everyone I know because it's a combination of they do research, like they're in there researching, like they have researchers, they have people doing this, but it's a very darkly humorous podcast. So they get into the weeds of it all, but they find levity in some of it. Like murder is not something to joke about, but they find that kind of not humor in the situations. They make it entertaining and they laugh about stuff, but it's not like disrespectful, if that makes sense.
Right.
I
think there's totally a tasteful way to
Yeah.
find the humor.
And
in
their whole goal with the podcast, and they'll talk about it in interviews and stuff, is to more like humanize these people, right? Like they want people to see like Ted Bundy wasn't some psychopathic Michael Myers like serial killer. He was just a loser dude. Like he was just a dude. Like, and that's what they try to do with the podcast. They try to basically humiliate these guys so that they're brought down to to our level. And not like these big, bigger than life characters. What's that?
These big scary
monsters. They're just people. Like they're just regular people. Like half of these serial killers, they were just, the losers that live down the street from you. You know what I mean? Like they're no better, no worse than you. They're just like people. And that's one thing I love about the show. But this book is fascinating. It's funny. It's hilarious. They also have a comic book series out, which I reviewed the first kind of compilation of. That's on pastramination.com. But it's just a lot of fun. So if you guys are into true crime, want to laugh a little, especially around this time of year, check out Last Podcast on the Left. It's like everywhere. It's on iTunes. It's one of the highest rated podcasts on there too. I highly recommend it. So guys should definitely check it out. They have a ton. They've been doing the podcast for at least 10 years, I think it's been.
Nice.
So there's a ton of episodes. We saw them live last year around Christmas time. They put on an awesome show. They're a lot of fun. So highly recommend that. Like I said, I have no stake in the game. They don't know who I am. They have no idea I'm talking about them right now. But definitely check it out. I just recommend it. So we have been watching, every year we try to do some horror movies, right? Both of my kids decided that they were ready to watch it. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. So me and my wife had seen the first one, but we've been kind of holding off on the second one because I've mentioned this before, but with horror, like it has to be a certain length for me, to almost 3 hours long. I was like, I don't know if I need that. I don't know if I need a 3 hour long horror movie. That's kind of a conclusion of something we already know. Have you guys watched both of them yet?
Yes.
Okay. Christian?
No, not yet.
Okay, so I won't spoil it unless you read the book or seen the 1990 version. But have you seen the first one at least? Or
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so we watched the first one. The first one goes smoothly, and the first one's the better one, to be honest. Like the first one, it just captures it's just so good. Like the kids are great. Everyone's fantastic. The second one's really, really good too. But then it just kind of falls off the rails. And it was always kind of my least favorite part of the book. And also my least favorite part of the 1990 series was when they were adults. Even though it does deal with things like trauma, anxiety and all that stuff. Like what happens when you've experienced this and now you're an adult. One thing I did want to point out though, is Bill Hader. Bill Hader in that movie is just incredible. Like I was not expecting that performance from him. But I think it works because he's allowed to be Bill Hader. So like he's still allowed to be super funny in like this weird, crazy, spooky world that they've created. But he's still Bill Hader. It's like you put Bill Hader in this world and he's allowed to be funny.
He was the perfect Richie.
What's that?
He was the perfect Richie.
Oh, perfect Richie. Like you couldn't have cast him better. Like he's the adult like Finn Wolfhard, you know,
Oh,
like
I love that kid in the first
it
one.
works.
Like he made that movie.
Yeah,
That
he
kid
did.
from Stranger Things. When he tells that guy, "Go blow your dad, you mullet wearing asshole." I'm like, damn.
That kid, you know, and I liked everyone that they cast as the adult versions of them. I thought everyone did really well, but Hader was especially just like a standout. He almost made me cry. I was like, oh, dude, like this is crazy.
I don't mind the spoiler talk, but like, at what point do you think it fell apart, and like why?
I think it was just too long, to be honest. Like I do feel like they could have easily cut at least half an hour, 45 minutes out of it. There are scenes that just drug on where you're just like, okay, like let's get to it. Let's get to it. The thing I love about the first one is they kind of it gets into the story, right? Like they have their little stuff going on, but it just dives into it, right? You have Pennywise and they're dealing with Pennywise. This one takes a while for them to get to Pennywise. And then once they get the gang back together and everything, it just kind of like there's these long scenes of like, you know, this movie almost acts like you haven't seen the first one.
Like the flashback scenes.
There's so much flashbacks in it that you're like, it just assumes that you had never seen the first, even though it came out, a year before, 2 years before, or whatever.
The year before, I think.
Yeah. So it's like reminding you of all these things. And it's like, that's where it kind of slows down for me because it doesn't. We did watch them, you know, we watched one on Saturday, one on Friday, one on Saturday night. So I guess that is one part of it. But it was like, I've already seen this. I don't care. But there were just scenes that just drug on too long. It felt like they were trying to capture too much in a 2.5 hour movie. Like I would have been fine if they cut it in half and released it as 3 parts, right? Like just do a trilogy, just put it out that way. But I feel like they just try to crunch everything into a package and then just expanded it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So that's where it fell apart for me personally. I just, by the end, it had some, and the second one specifically, a lot of jump scares. Like they just jump at the screen at you. Like it's insane how many jump scares there were in that movie. I do not remember.
There were some creepy ones though.
There were some good ones, but I felt like this movie relied too much on the jump scares as opposed to the psychological stuff. Like I was thinking about the 90s version, right? It's corny, it's cheesy, whatever. That one was very psychological. That one had jump scares, yes, but it played with played with the psychology aspect first, then the jump scares, right? To kind of amplify the psychological aspects. This one did the opposite. This one was like jump scares, and then we'll throw in some psychological stuff to make you care about these people, if that makes sense.
Right.
So that was my main criticism of the movie. But otherwise, I thought it was fine. I thought it was completely serviceable. Like I still enjoyed it. But almost 3 hours long, I was kind of like, like I'm good. But that's what happens when you have horror movies that are over like 2 hours, right? Like they just tend to drag on at times. And even the Conjuring movies, I don't think were that long. I think they were like 2 hours, possibly. You know what
Probably
I mean?
Tops, yeah.
Yeah, tops, and they work because of that. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing. We watched Hocus Pocus 1 and 2, Hocus Pocus 2. Oh boy. So I didn't think it was horrible. Like I thought it was serviceable. But I do really, really, really wish they just went. Obviously, it's Disney, so they're not going to do full-on horror. But I felt like they could have went a little darker. The first one kind of has this weird edge to it, where it's they're talking about hanging kids and like all these weird, messed up things. This one, they just they lower that a little bit, so they made it more Disney Channel-ish.
They marveled it.
Yeah, they marveled it, and they made it more for kids today, which is fine. Obviously, kids are going to watch it. But the original, watching it again, it's pretty dark and it's pretty twisted, and they do some pretty messed up stuff in there, even though it's still PG. But that's the kind of like gateway horror that I like. I like those family horror movies that aren't afraid to scare you still. You know what I mean? Like, like this movie just lost any edge that it had and just kind of went the total Disney Channel route. So they should have just went with like scary stories to tell in the dark and just kind of did that kind of thing. Because I love that movie, by the way.
Yes, that was a good movie.
That was a really good movie. Waiting
That
for
was
his sequel.
Guillermo del Toro, right?
He produced it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was
definitely.
creepy.
I actually really liked it, and I'm waiting for a sequel. So
Oh yeah.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys. So I think that's our show today. Just real quick, I know this isn't Lego podcast. We're doing that next week, but I do.
Let's see it.
I do.
You
Let's
put
see
together
it.
some little set, right?
This little set.
Yeah. Is
Look at
that Jack
thing.
Black?
It is Jack Black. It is Jack Black, and
Yep.
he's gonna talk. I can't do a Jack Black impression, so I won't do it. But we'll be talking about this guy more next week. But man, this was such a fun build.
That looks great.
Look at that thing.
He feels sturdy too. Like he feels like a puppet, like a doll. Like he feels like a doll. Like it's really weird. Like he feels like you can just like, I don't know, man. Like I don't know how to describe it. He just feels full. Like if that makes
Stop
sense.
motion.
Right. Yeah, no.
You know, it's very cool. And he does this thing with his feet that, like, you know, you put him down and like, I know it's weird, but like these are the things that I trip out over. His feet, and then his feet kind of go in and out. Like it's really weird. Like
Oh,
it
that's
looks like
cool.
he's jumping.
Yeah.
He's got like a jumping motion.
Bowser
which
does
is-
jump, you know.
He does jump. I know. Yeah, it works for this guy. And the Mario is you can actually interact with them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk about him next week. But man, I love this guy. He's so cool.
It's badass.
But yeah, it was really fun. I'm going to start on the haunted house next. The haunted house is the next one. I'm really excited to get to that.
Oh,
So,
the big haunted house.
the
yes.
big haunted house.
Oh.
Yeah. I got to find a place to put it. But
Yeah. You're running out of real estate back there.
oh man,
Yeah.
I really am. So anyways, guys, you guys have plans for the upcoming couple weeks? You guys doing anything fun for Halloween? I know I love Halloween. That's why I talk a lot about Halloween. So forgive me. But you guys doing anything this year? Like going to any haunted houses or anything like that?
Probably hit a few haunted houses. I was really hoping the Hollywood parade would have happened this year, but it's still, they canceled it again this year, you know, because 2020 got canceled. They canceled last year. I thought this year, maybe with all the conventions happening, maybe that was going to happen too. Because if you've never been to one, it's on Santa Monica Boulevard, and you just see some of the craziest costumes. Like
that is so cool.
The stuff people come up with, and there's live bands all around and like food trucks and stuff. It's like pretty much Santa Monica Boulevard is shut down. And like, I remember the first time I went, I took some chick back in 2004. I took this girl, Leah, and like, I was dressed as a king and she was like Little Bo Peep. And we get out there and ours were just like costumes we got from like Target or something. And we're like, oh, we're cool. And then when you go over there, you're like, damn, blew you away with some of the stuff people come up with, you know?
Right. No, absolutely. And I know Christian's doing his the Oogie Boogie Bash, right? Or the
Yep. Oogie Boogie Bash.
Cool, man.
How's that costume coming along?
Well, I'm ready, man. I'm good to go. I'm just trying to slim down now because I'm definitely not Eddie Munson weight. But aside from that, we're ready to go. I'm looking forward to it. So
my wife picked out we picked out our costumes. We're going to be like a greaser couple. You know, she wants to do.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I got to shave. I'm going to do this whole thing.
Yeah, I got to
get rid of the beard.
Yeah, man. You know, it's still hot, so it's okay. Like it's still hot. Like in October.
Not no shave November yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, guys. Well. Oh, I did want to bring up something really, really fast.
Sure.
So some of our buddies over in Utah, the Film and Media Alliance of Southern Utah, every year they throw the Horror Fest International over there in St. George, Utah. This year it's going to be October 19th through October 22nd. So if you're in the Utah area, St. George area specifically, or anywhere around there, you guys could check it out. You guys could go to fmasu.com to purchase tickets and get information about the scheduling, buying tickets, and all that fun stuff. It's a really, really cool event. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to make it out there myself, but it's on the bucket list. So one of these years I will be out there. Some really, really cool people over there that are working it. Really good friends of Pastrami Nation and me and all this stuff. They're really, really good people. So please go check that out. Support them. Go to the website and like I said, if anyone's in Utah, go check it out. If you guys want to do a weekend trip over there, go check it out. It's always a good time. They always have really, really cool guests, really, really cool filmmakers. A couple years ago, we had the wonderful opportunity to interview Ted Raimi, which was so much fun.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And that was actually all thanks to them. So they actually helped us out with that. So they've been really, really cool and supportive of us. And so definitely go check it out. You can also find their page on Facebook at Horror Fest International. They're on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. So definitely go check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, it was fun. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening.
Yes,
Remember, an
absolutely.
audio version of this podcast comes out on iTunes, Spotify. Within the next few days, it should be up. You can also make sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening to, wherever you're watching. Subscribe, like, comment, whatever you guys want to do. Yeah, like we said before, next week will be Lego. The week after will be another Pastrami Nation podcast, and I think we were talking about a costume party for that one, possibly. But
Costume party, huh?
yeah, we were talking about wearing our costumes. So
Oh, are we now?
you can be
I don't know if my
surprised, guys.
costume is appropriate. I'll wear the other one.
You know, with black bars, whatever you need to do. All right, guys. Well, as usual, you guys can follow us on social media. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Jason, you can find him on Facebook, Instagram,
MySpace.
Facebook, Instagram, MySpace, Friendster,
Napster.
TikTok, Napster, all kinds
And
of
the
cool
couch.
stuff. And Christian, they could find you on all the places as well.
Yeah.
TikTok,
You know,
Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. All right, guys. Thank you guys for checking out the show. And until next time, guys have a good night or a good day, whenever you're listening to this. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.